All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to tackle a question that pops up in pretty much any virtual environment. Who's really in charge, you or your VMs? Let's figure it out. Now, this seems like a pretty simple question, right? But in a busy, heavily automated virtual cluster, the answer can get, well, a little fuzzy. Are you actually the one calling all the shots? Because let's be honest, without the right rules in place, your virtual machines can sometimes feel like they have a mind of their own, and that can lead to all sorts of chaos, performance bottlenecks, weird behavior, and yeah, even unexpected downtime. Look, we all love automation. I mean, it's the engine that keeps modern IT running. But there is a catch when it comes to automatically placing our virtual machines, and it can have some pretty serious consequences if we're not paying attention. So think about something like VMware's Distributed Resource Scheduler, or DRS. Its whole job is to automatically balance your VMs across your physical hosts to get the best performance, and it's fantastic at that. The problem is, DRS doesn't know the secret relationships between your applications. It has no idea that your web server needs to stay super close to its database, or that your two domain controllers should absolutely never be on the same physical machine. It just sees resources. So, how do we fix this? How do we teach our smart but kind of clueless scheduler these critical secrets? Well, that's where Affinity Rules come into play. You can think of them as your personal control manual, your way of giving DRS specific, intelligent instructions. At their core, Affinity Rules are really just policies that you define. They're the fundamental tool you have to dictate the physical placement of your VMs. They let you override the cluster's default automation whenever you know better, which, let's face it, is pretty often. And why does this matter so much? Well, because with these rules, you can achieve some incredibly important goals. We're talking about maximizing the performance of those really chatty applications, ensuring true high availability for your critical services, optimizing your expensive hardware resources, and even maintaining specific compliance or licensing requirements. It's a huge deal. When you get right down to it, these rules really boil down to a very simple choice. Do you want certain VMs to stick together like glue, or do you need to force them to stay apart? I absolutely love this analogy. Think about it like you're planning a big dinner party. Your physical hosts, those are your tables. And your VMs, they're your guests. You wouldn't just let people sit wherever they want, right? Of course not. You'd create a seating chart. That is exactly what Affinity Rules are for your cluster. So your first option for that seating chart is Affinity. This is all about keeping VMs together. It's perfect for something like a web server and its database that are constantly talking to each other. Keeping them on the same host minimizes network latency. Then you've got the opposite, Anti-Affinity. This is for separating VMs, and it is absolutely critical for redundancy. You'd use this to make sure your two domain controllers are always on different physical hosts, so if one host suddenly fails, your entire authentication system doesn't just vanish with it. Okay, so we've got our seating chart idea down, but there's another layer to this. It's not just about what you want to do, but how strictly you need that rule to be enforced. And this is the critical difference between must and should. A must rule is a hard command. It's you telling vCenter, this is non-negotiable, do this no matter what. Now, you got to be careful here. A must rule that's too restrictive could actually prevent a VM from powering on if there are no compliant hosts available. A should rule, on the other hand, is more like a strong suggestion. You're saying, hey, I really prefer you did this, but if you have to violate the rule for the greater good of the cluster's health, you have my permission. This gives you a lot more flexibility, but a little less of a guarantee. It's a trade-off. And that's really the key takeaway here, isn't it? Affinity Rules are your tool for imposing your own specific, intelligent logic right on top of the cluster's normal automation. You're basically telling DRS, hey, I appreciate all your hard work, but for these specific VMs, my rules take priority. Okay. So, theory is great, but how do you actually put all of this into practice? How do you really take charge and start building that seating chart for your cluster? Well, it's actually a pretty straightforward three-step process. First, you group your guests. That means you create groups of VMs that you want to manage together. Second, you group your tables by creating groups of your physical hosts. And finally, you just connect the dots by defining the actual rule itself. So here's a really practical example. You could create a rule that says your app servers, VM group, must run on the hosts you've put into your high-performance host group. Simple, right? But it's also incredibly powerful. It guarantees that your most important applications always get the hardware resources they need to perform well. Ultimately, mastering this skill really changes your role in the data center. You're no longer just a spectator, passively watching automation do its thing. You become the architect. You're deliberately and intelligently designing your virtual environment for peak performance and, more importantly, for resilience. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Now that you have the control manual, go take a fresh look at your own environment. Are your most critical applications and services actually configured for true high availability? Or are they really just one host failure away from a total disaster? The power to decide, that's all yours.